Okay, so we are now recording, and is there a button that you can see on the screen that shows that I'm recording? All right, we are convened here today, May 10th, 2021, for a hearing in the matter of Denise DREWA versus Rehabilitation Institute of Wisconsin. And this is ERD case number CR 2018-01614. And I'm Administrative Law Judge Roseanne Wasserman, and I've been assigned to preside over this hearing. And I will have the parties state their appearances for the record. So, Ms. DREWA, you are here today on your own. You're not represented by counsel, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then for the respondent?
Barry Chade on behalf of the Rehabilitation Institute of Wisconsin, Inc.
And you also have your client representative here as well?
Yes. Lori Stellig is the owner of the Rehabilitation Institute.
Okay. Stellick, S-T-E-L-L-I-C-K, correct? Okay.
Yes.
And as I understand it, Ms. Stellick is the respondent's official representative for this case and will also be a witness. Is that correct? So because Ms. Stellick is the representative for the respondent, she may remain in the hearing room throughout the hearing, not just when she's testifying, because she is because otherwise other witnesses generally I sequester them until it's time for them to testify. And of course the same goes for Ms. DREWA, of course, as the complainant will be remaining in the hearing throughout the hearing. I am going to, and I'll just note we are recording this hearing, and this hearing is being held via WebEx video conferencing software. And I am going to do a very brief procedural introduction, so it's clear for the record what the issues are for today. And let me just look up something here on the computer so I have the correct dates. Okay, so this case involves a complaint that was filed. Initially, it was filed with the federal EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. However, because the respondent in this matter does not have enough employees for coverage under the federal law, the EEOC dismissed the case, and then the case was filed with the Equal Rights Division under Wisconsin law, and the complaint was filed with our agency on March 3rd, 2018. And in this complaint, the complainant, Denise DREWA, alleged that the respondent, the Rehabilitation Institute of Wisconsin, discriminated against her on the basis of disability with regard to termination, and also alleged that she was unlawfully terminated she was in retaliation because she had opposed discriminatory practice under the law. The Equal Rights Division investigated this complaint, and on December 28th, 2018, issued an initial determination, finding no probable cause to believe that discrimination or retaliation had occurred as alleged in the complaint. Then the complainant, Ms. DREWA, appealed the initial determination, and then the case was certified to a hearing on the issue of probable cause. So today's hearing is a hearing on the issue of probable cause. It's not a hearing on the merits. I guess there are two significant things to understand with regard to this being a probable cause hearing and not a hearing on the merits. And one is that the burden of proof is lower because the complainant needs to establish that discrimination or retaliation probably occurred, as opposed to having to prove it by a preponderance of the evidence at a hearing on the merits. Also, because it's a no probable cause hearing, we don't need to address any issues related to remedy, such as back pay, reinstatement, anything like that, because that would only come later. If probable cause is established at this case will then be certified for a second hearing before a different judge, a hearing on the merits, and only if discrimination is proven at that stage will there be any kind of remedial order issued, providing, as I said, back pay or reinstatement or anything else that might be appropriate. So because of that, we don't need to talk about interim earnings. For example, if Ms. DREWA made reasonable efforts to try to find other employment, and if she did find other employment, and how much she earned at her other employment, because all of that you need to, you need that kind of information when you're when you're making a back pay order, but because there will not be any order for back pay or anything else in this case, we don't need to get into that kind of information. Or get any evidence on those topics. So I think that's it. And so we can get right into the testimony. And I did explain briefly before we went on the record the procedures we would be following today. And as I said, we'll be starting with the complainant's case, and we'll have Ms. DREWA testify first. And so, Ms. DREWA, because this is a video hearing and not in person, I'm not going to have you stand up for me to swear you in, but if you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so first of all, if you could state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Denise DREWA. DENISE. D as in David, REWA.
Okay. Your voice, I don't know if it's just me, but you're kind of quiet. I mean, the audio is a little bit reduced. I don't know if that's something on your end.
I don't know. Can you hear me if I talk a little louder?
Yeah, that helps a little bit.
Not sure what to do to make it
I mean,
louder.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's okay. So why don't we go ahead? But yeah, to whatever extent you can, you don't need to shout or anything, but if you could just try to speak up a little bit, that would be helpful to make sure everything you say is recorded for the record. I'm sorry?
Normally I talk loud anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, then that works out in this instance. Okay, so I just want to get a little background here before we get into the specific facts relating to your allegations in this case. So you were hired by the Rehabilitation Institute of Wisconsin. First of all, before we go on, is there, when I don't think we need to say the whole name the whole time, Rehabilitation Institute of Wisconsin. I mean, if I refer to the respondent, we'll know that's who we're talking about. But Is there a shortened form that is used, or sort of an an abbreviated name for the company?
Trial.
I think we can stipulate on that. So that's okay. What is the company called?
Well, usually what we would say is RIOW, the first letters. So you could just say RIOW
Okay.
instead of all the whole long thing.
Okay. RIOW. Of course, that's quite long too. What
When-
about, do you ever say Rehab Institute or,
Well, just say rehab. We know what you're talking about.
okay,
Rehab. That's okay
yeah,
with everybody else.
or Rehab Institute, or the company? Okay, so if we say the respondent, or we say the company, unless it's otherwise indicated, we'll understand that we're talking about the Rehabilitation Institute of Wisconsin, or RIOW. Okay. So when did you start working for the Rehab Institute? When were you hired?
I was actually hired in September of '96.
And then you were employed by the company straight through until the time of your termination?
Yes, but for the first, I actually didn't get on the payroll for RIOW until November 1st, November 1st of '97 was my actual day I got on the payroll. Before
All
that,
right.
I was being paid through Lori's husband's business.
Okay. All right. I don't think we need to particularly get into those details
No, so I
for this
consider
case. No, but I understand. But in terms of starting on the payroll for RIOW, that was in November of 1997.
November 1st was what has been put down.
May I interrupt for a second?
Okay.
Is Drewa looking at something? Is she looking at some papers or anything while she's testifying?
Oh,
No, I'm not.
okay. Just so you understand, you shouldn't be looking at any documentation until we get to the point where we ask you to look at a document, an exhibit for this hearing. And as you know from the pre-hearing conference, when we I demonstrated how this works, I can actually put the documents on the screen, although I did ask that the parties also print out copies, so you have copies of the exhibits, but actual hard copies. But please don't look at any documents unless you're asked to look at a specific document. Also, if there is a point where you can't remember something, you can look at other documents to refresh your recollection. But if you do that, then you have to show that document to the other side so they can see what it is that you're using to refresh your recollection. But hopefully that won't be an issue here. Okay, so you started, you were hired, and could you please tell me just very briefly at this point what the Rehab Institute is? What kind of business it is?
It's a company that provides physical therapy and occupational therapy and ergonomic on-site consultations.
Okay. Now, who hired you? Was it Ms. Stellick?
Yes.
So Ms. Stellick, so we're talking about Lori Stellick, who is here at the hearing, who there is no dispute. She's the owner of the company. And so Ms. Stellick hired you. Is that correct?
Yes.
She interviewed you and then hired you.
Yes.
Okay. And what position were you hired into?
Medical billing.
Did your position change over time? Did you later get promoted to a different position, or did you remain in that position throughout your employment?
I remained in that position, but I think eventually Lori kind of put the label on it as medical administrator or medical billing administrator.
So later your title, at the time when your employment ended, by that time your title had changed to medical billing administrator?
Yeah, I think that's what I was usually called.
Okay.
Nothing worse than that.
Okay. And could you tell me very briefly at this point what your responsibilities were as the medical billing administrator?
Yes. My responsibilities were to assist the therapist if they had questions on anything regarding to billing or codes, to actually do the charges, put the charges in, bill the charges, take the payments and post the payments, do any follow-up, do any insurance, and basically I got every penny I could for Lori.
Now, your employment ended in May of 2017, is that correct?
Yes.
So during that the last years of your at that time, you were working. Were you working full time?
No.
How many hours a week were you working?
30.
30. Okay.
Yes.
Did you work a particular schedule, certain days of the week or certain hours, or?
Pretty much Monday, well, always Monday through Friday. And they were pretty much, well, she was letting me be pretty flexible, which that was very generous. But basically, I would say 8 to 2 was pretty much the more known schedule most of the time.
Okay. All right. So I guess I would want to look at the, I want to ask you some questions. I mean, we may end up going back, but I want to right now start asking you questions about the last few days of your employment, which of course is the heart of your case, has to do with the circumstances leading up to your termination. So I believe, I wish I had a calendar in front of me for the week of May.
Do you
Well, I
want
guess,
to give the dates?
no, I know May 11th was the last day you actually worked there, right? And then May
Yes,
12th.
the Thursday.
Okay, so May 11th, and yeah, okay, there's no dispute on that. So Thursday, May 11th, that's the last day you actually worked, physically worked at the Rehab Institute, is that correct?
Yes.
And could you tell me What happened that day? You came to work as usual at around 8 o'clock that morning.
Yes. That was, sorry, I just get upset about this, just thinking about it. That was the day that I was, Lori had sent me an email. When I got in, I got an email dated May 10th, which was the day that she actually got the reports for May. Because we usually would close the month a little bit later, which was,
Okay, you're going to have to go back a little bit here to explain. Well, first of all, on May 11th, while at work, you received an email that was actually dated May 10th.
right. Right.
But,
That was
you first saw it on May 11th.
correct. Because I had already left for the day on May 10th.
When the email was sent. Okay.
Right, right.
Oh, and by the way, just to get this in the record, the Rehab Institute is located, you worked at an office that was located in Brookfield, Wisconsin.
Yes.
And we're talking about a time well before the pandemic. So we're talking about you were working in person, physically at this location in Brookfield, correct? This
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were in the office working on May 11th. You saw an email.
May I interject?
Sure.
Just so you know, she worked at her own office. They rented an office for her, so she didn't work at the office where Lori worked, where they performed. So she had a standalone on Capitol Drive. Just so you
Okay.
understand,
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll take that.
She worked
I
by
doubt.
herself, totally.
Okay, well, we need to clarify that. I
Yeah,
guess
I
that
thought it would help you.
Thank you. So I'm not taking that as testimony, but I don't think that's disputed what you said. So now I'll go to you, Ms. Drew, and ask you to explain that to me. So you had your own office? It was just you?
Correct. That is how I worked. At other places, we moved around a little bit, but always by myself. And
so wait. I'm a little confused here. So now you worked in your own office, and the office was on, Attorney Chait just said, on Capitol Drive?
that was the last office, yeah.
Okay, so I'm most interested, of course, in what was going on, in May of 2017, the end of your employment, because that's the time period we're talking about.
Okay.
So at that point, you were working in an office on Capitol Drive. Capitol Drive where? In what community? In Brookfield or?
Yeah, on 177th and Capitol.
Okay, in Brookfield.
Yeah.
And you were the only one who worked there?
Yes.
So effectively, if this was the billing office that you worked in?
Correct.
Okay. So where was everybody else? Where was Ms. Stellick, for example?
Either at the clinic or running around the different places to provide services.
Okay, so when you say at the clinic, where was the clinic located?
That is still on, I believe, on Blue Mound. I don't know what the 100 block is, maybe.
I doubt there's any dispute on that. Could Mr. Chait, what is the address? We just have a P.O. box, I guess, address for our records. So I'm sorry?
Lori, you want to just give her the addresses?
Sure. The clinic, the therapy clinic is at 275 Regency Court, and that is Brookfield, Wisconsin.
So it's like off of Blue Mound, but it's actually
Right.
Regency Court. Okay. 275?
Yes.
And it's in Brookfield. We have, for our records here at the Equal Rights Division, I just want to make sure we do have the correct address. It's P.O. Box 611. Is that correct?
That is my
In
mailing address. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. In Brookfield, 53008. That's correct.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so this, Ms. DREWA, you, I assume during your employment, there were many times where you visited the clinic, so you're familiar with the clinic.
Very, very seldom. Maybe I was there possibly 3 or 4 times.
Really, in all the years you worked there?
Yes.
I see. Okay. So at the clinic, that is where would people who were getting occupational or physical therapy, that's where they would go to get their treatment?
There, or if there was, they also treated on site at companies.
I see. Okay.
Companies, and so they'd get treated there.
Okay.
I think they would call it like a therapy room.
Okay. So, who else worked at the clinic then besides Ms. Stellick? All the other employees of the Rehab Institute worked there?
That at that time when I was on May 10th, is that what
Yes.
you're asking?
Yes, during the latter part of your employment, yes.
Yes, there were other employees.
Do you want to, I understand there's only very few other, maybe 3 or 4 other
You want
employees.
the
So
name?
who,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so at this point, if you could tell me who was working there then, besides Ms. Stellick as the owner.
Jill Frondorf.
Okay, and that is that Fraundorf?
And she was a physical, or is a physical therapist, and was basically over time became the clinic manager.
Okay. All right, who else?
Justin Magnuson.
And is that Magnuson? Owen?
Yeah,
Okay.
Magnuson, I believe.
Okay. And what was his position?
Physical therapist.
Okay. And then who else?
Veronica Rutland.
Okay, Veronica Rutland, Rutland?
Yes.
Okay. And her position?
Receptionist.
Okay. So you worked at this separate location, the office, I mean, the building office. Okay, just a minute. I assume that though you've met these other people, you said you did visit the clinic a few times. But
well, over the years, there were many, 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 many therapists. And some of them I never actually met.
okay.
But as far as I've met Jill, and I've met Veronica, and I've met Carol, who was the cleaning lady, because she cleaned my office too. And Justin, I actually only talked to him on the telephone. But I did meet him after I was let go. Him and his wife and me and my husband and some other employees and their spouses, and the cleaning lady and her spouse, we all went out to dinner. And that's how when I met Justin. Those guys wanted to do that. for me.
Okay. Ms. Stellick was not there.
No.
Okay. Okay. So you, so day to day, you communicated with regard to your work when you were working at the Rehab Institute. You communicated with Ms. Stellick by primarily by email then and phone.
Correct.
Did she come to your office, by the way, on a regular basis to bring in papers or documents or anything like that?
For probably, yeah, the first, maybe 12 years or so, no one else would come. And then eventually she let Pam, the receptionist at the time, bring me papers, but they had to be sealed in an envelope. And then she let the new receptionist, after her, there was Kristen, and she would let her come. And then after her was Veronica, and she would let her come. Because that was working out pretty well, having the stuff sealed in an envelope. And then Lori didn't, because she was off doing other things, and it helped her out quite a bit as far as chasing around.
Okay. All right. So thank you for sort of setting the stage for me so I know what the, your situation was. Okay, so I want to go back to May 11th of 2017, which was your last day actually working at your office at the Rehab Institute. So you were telling me you got an email from Ms. Stellick, and which was actually dated May 10th. And do we have that document in the record as far as that email? We don't have a copy of that email.
I look, I don't recall offhand if I gave you that or not. I'm assuming I did, but can I look? Is it okay to look?
Yes, you can look through the document to see what
Here
you
it is.
submitted.
Yeah, you do. It's C7-5. Sorry about
Okay.
writing that.
All right, so wait, okay, this will be the first time here. Let me go to the exhibits. I want to share the screen. Let me get to this here. Okay, now let's see. I have to share the screen. Okay, so can everybody see the where I am here?
You're on one, but this is number 25.
25.
Yeah, page 25.
Oh, okay. I'm
I'm
clicking
numbering.
on, I did this bookmarking. So here we are. Okay, I'm confused. This is a letter.
No,
It's an email.
No. You want to go to C7-5 down the left.
375. I'm sorry. I thought you said C5. Okay, I'm sorry. C7.
No, down C7.5. Down.
You said it's what page in terms of the
On your
ERG?
pages, it's 25. See, now you're on 22. You want to go to 25.
All right, here we go.
There. Now the bottom half is go down. Now, see, May 10th, 2:39. That's the email she sent me on that day after I left work. Perfect.
All right. So I'm Just a minute here. So C7. So I'm going to mark for the record Exhibit C7.
No, because C7 is page 20, which was the letter to
Well,
the
the
officer.
way you did this, the way you marked it, you have, it's all part of C7. You have C7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., right?
I didn't, right, because I didn't know how else you wanted it
That's
marked.
fine, that's fine. But I'm just saying for the record, I'm marking
Oh,
the
I don't care.
entire, I don't know that all of it will come in to the
Okay.
record. I'm not receiving, you know, parties, once I mark an exhibit, we talk about it, and then it's offered into evidence, and the other party can object or not, and I have to deal with that. But I'm just marking for the record Exhibit C7. You have, this is, and it's Bates stamps. It's Bates stamped, you know, we numbered in advance, as you know, I'm just stating for the record.
Yeah.
Our office, both parties submitted documents, exhibits in advance, and then our office Bates stamped them all, so they have page numbers that we can follow along with. So this is, so Complainant's Exhibit 7 starts on page, sorry, this is 19. Bates stamp 19, and then but we are going to page 27.
25.
Oh, it's 25. Oh, sorry. So on page, sorry, hopefully I'll get better at this as we move through the hearing. This is the first exhibit we're looking at. Okay. I'm confused. We were,
Okay, you need your number to be ERD 025,
oops.
and my number
Okay.
would be C7-5.
You know, why is this not, okay, just a minute. I'm trying to page down here.
Or
Darn, this is, I think there's it's confusing because there's other numbers here, I think, from when you submitted these
well, why don't you,
previously.
right, but why don't you just use your numbers and then
I am doing that.
just ignore the other ones and we'll be good, I think.
All right.
Now go to the lower half on this one. There you go. Don't stay on that one. Stay on 25. Right
Okay.
there. Stop.
All right.
Stop.
So,
okay, now you got it.
all right. So I see here this document, and a lot of there's handwriting on this that is that all of your handwriting?
Yes, and that was only on there because I had put that with the letter to Nicole.
Nicole.
That was
Nicole being, you're referring to the Equal Rights Division investigator?
yeah.
Because these documents are documents that you submitted to the Equal Rights Division during the investigation of your case, right?
Yeah, you have those actually over there already.
Well, I want to clarify for you so you understand. Yes, our agency, the documents you submitted during the investigation are in our file. However, I can only look, as the decision maker in this case,
right.
I can only look at documents that are submitted at the hearing. So
right.
I'm not going to be looking through the whole file to see
no, that's
what
why
else.
I did this way so that
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Everything you need, I sent you.
Right. And that is how it is. So if there may be something you submitted to the investigator,
right.
But if it's not submitted to me today at this hearing, then I can't consider it evidence, just so you understand that. But
right.
So a lot of things will be resubmitted that you've already submitted, but we're starting from scratch here with this hearing. We call it de novo. So I'm just looking at the evidence that comes into me today. Anyway, so here we are, May 10th, and this is the email that you got. And why don't you tell me about this document, what's significant about it. And by the way, are you, this hearing, do you all see the symbol saying that this case is being recorded, that the hearing's being recorded?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, because that is not showing up for some reason on my screen right now, so I just want to make sure. Okay, so what is it that's significant about this? Why don't you just sort of talk me through this? What is Ms. Stellick telling you here, or what is significant here?
Micromanaging. I gave her these reports on the 10th, and this is the email she sent after she saw the reports. Now, she didn't have them till the 10th, so
when you say reports, you mean
end of the month and the end of the month reports.
Which you're responsible for submitting as the billing person.
Correct.
Okay.
And so she didn't have those till the 10th. But according to the letter from her attorney, that her attorney wrote me, she had made her decision on the 6th or the 7th to let me go without even reviewing the reports because she didn't have them.
Okay,
well, that's
I
all.
understand this is part of your case, but right now that may come in when you're questioning Ms. Stellick during her testimony. But what was I guess I want to go through your story first. What happened on May 10th? Obviously on May 11th. I want to know what happened, and then later you can fill in about the timing and about the decision-making process of when the decision was made to terminate you. And I know that's a big issue in this case, but I just want to get first your side of the story of what happened. So, you got this email you saw this May 10th email. Okay. On May 11th. Okay.
Okay, and we can go after that to the response that I sent to her. But she was asking me in this email to do call insurances and try to get faster payments, all things I do every day on a basis. I bug these insurances like crazy. The roundy accounts need a phone call. If you feel like you're falling behind, I could come over and assist you. These are things that are in the email.
All right, I see. So she's telling you, she wants you to just correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like she's saying in this email of May 10th, 2:39 p.m. that she wanted you to follow up on some accounts and to call various companies and insurance companies. She refers in particular also to the Roundy's account.
Right.
And I see there's a sentence here towards the bottom, you've circled it actually, saying if you are feeling that you're falling behind with this, I could come over and assist you.
Correct.
And then the very last line is, please let me know your progress on the follow-ups each day.
Correct.
Okay, so you then responded to this email, correct? You replied?
Right.
And the reply, am I showing your reply up now on the screen?
Should I just read it?
Just a sec.
Because it pretty much is a nutshell. That was at 8:54 in the morning when I got in and I had a chance to read it.
Okay, so you
because this is where things began to get dicey for that day.
Okay, so well, the document speaks for itself. I guess so that we understand as we move forward here. Why don't you? Okay, why don't you read into the record what you stated here? It's not very long.
Okay. I understand your point and have been working hard to keep up with current things. And this week, I have made a pretty good dent in the roundies, as it's somewhat difficult to work on old stuff when deposits are so far and few between. Also, the new system has required more posting payment time as it is new. Also, going back and forth between PTOS, that's the old system, and the new system for payments is also time consuming. It would not be beneficial for you to help, as it would take up more time to explain things than to help out. What I could use some help with is filing. And I've noticed that Jill is not busy lately, so if she could come and do that would be helpful.
And Jill, that's Jill Fraundorf, is that correct?
Yes, because she hadn't been that busy.
Okay.
And so that would really help me, but I knew just from the way things were that bringing up that was not gonna go over well, but it was what I could have used, okay? You have to be careful sometimes what you say. We all know that one just from life. Okay, so that was that email. After that email, which this was a day when she wanted me to get a bunch of work done, I guess, she decided to start to inundate me with emails. The next one was at 9:46. I do not have all the emails in as evidence because some of them just weren't. I just put in the ones I felt were.
Okay, I don't know that we need to go into them, each one in detail,
Exactly. No, that's why.
so you're saying that later, so on May 11th, you received several other emails from Ms.
13
Stellick.
Yeah, 13 emails within a few hours. And it was one right after the other. Some were 2 minutes apart, some were an hour apart. My last one was at 2:39. And a lot of those emails were just aggravating me, stressing me out more and more. I know my job, I've done it. She knows I did my job well. I don't know what happened, but that's what happened on that day. And that's what really stressed me out. And so that night was the night that I sent her. I just could not go to work the next day. I was so stressed out. Besides that and what was going on with my dad, but now if you want to go to the text message, maybe we should go to that right now because I need to explain that a little bit too, which it refers to right after.
Well, all right. What exhibit number are you talking about now? Do you want to talk about?
Okay, let me just get it. Uh, 18. You're number 18.
Okay, but please tell me first the exhibit number, and then I will go to the page. So
C as in Charles, 6-5.
Okay.
It's my number.
Can I make a comment quickly?
Yes, what?
For the record, it would just be very easy just to identify and make it, let's say, for example, Exhibit 1, ERD, page number 025, as one document standalone. Now we go to our text, we'll just identify it as ERD, page number this. Exhibit 2.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do, actually. I would like
Ms.
This is confused. Yeah, I wish, in retrospect, it's a little confusing because normally it's like Complainant's Exhibit 1, and then it's just you know, the pages of that, and now you have them separately marked as C61, C626. It's a little confusing because then we have separate Bates numbers, but we'll get through this. There aren't that many exhibits. So first, just tell me, Ms. I know you're saying page 18, but what is the exhibit number? Is it C? What is it? C
6-5.
Okay. Just before you say the -5 part, you're talking about it's complainant's part of a complainant's exhibit 6.
Okay.
So we're going to look at complainant's exhibit 6 right now. But we're going to go down to page it's page 18, I believe, of the Bates mark, the way we, whoops.
There it is. You got it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Why is this, what's up here? This is 17. I don't understand.
That I sent, there you go, May 11th, I sent that at 7:03 p.m.
Okay, so this is part of Complainant's Exhibit 6, and it's, I wish, this is a little hard to follow because the ERD numbers are at the top and you can't even see them, the Bates numbers. So this is page 18, and this is a text message that you sent.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, you sent to Ms. Stellick. This is at 7:03 p.m. And so you sent this from home while you were at home.
Correct, and I did it in the evening, and I didn't want to wait till the morning because I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. So at least know that I wouldn't be there.
Okay. Now this email, or excuse me, text. So you sent this to Ms. Stellick, and I don't know if we need to meet. Speaks for itself, but it is a very important part of this case, I think. So I guess why don't you go through it?
Okay, I let her know I was having problems with my BP, which means blood pressure.
Okay.
I'm sure she knew what that meant. Probably from enormous stress in my life right now. My doctor put me on medical leave starting tomorrow because I had talked to my doctor that afternoon because I had been in on the 9th discussing things with her. And so she was, if you look at the medical record, she was quite aware that I was having problems.
Okay, I thought you're reading this document into the record. Now you're making commentary. It's a little confusing for the record, but
well,
so
what do you want me to do? I need to add some commentary into it.
Yeah, I understand. So I guess the document speaks for itself here. I mean, I will have this here. I guess I can go through, ask questions. You noted that you were having problems with your BP, which meant you were referring to blood pressure. And you said it was from enormous stress in your life. And you said, my doctor has put me on medical leave starting tomorrow until I see her on Monday, May 22nd.
Correct.
And then you said she should have faxed something to the clinic this afternoon. Hope you got it. It's okay to text me if you need to. Hopefully I can return a reply swiftly. My problem got worse last week with all the issues Elmbrook Hospital presented for my dad. The place has literally gone down the tubes. I think that may have been the straw that broke the camel's back for me. So I just read what this says here. Now, let me ask you, just to clarify. Well, first of all, the fax that the doctor, you said you thought the doctor had faxed something to Ms. Stellick that afternoon. Do we have a copy of that fax in the record here?
Yes, it is in the record. It's C2, but
Okay, we'll get to that.
Well, wait, before we get to that,
We'll look at that in a moment, but
I need to tell you two things about the rest of this text.
okay. Well, first, let me just ask you, your father at that time was in the hospital, apparently, at Elmbrook Hospital, correct?
The week before, which,
He had gone to the hospital the week before.
yeah, right, and that added to my stress. But the straw that really broke the camel's back was Thursday, which we had already talked about all the emails, but I couldn't word it that way because I knew that Lori would have a connection fit and I would not want to tell her that. So I used that. It was part of my stress, yes. But the main thing about this was I said it's okay to text me. And I did not appreciate trying to call me because I asked her to text me and she did not respect that. And there's a reason why I asked that. And that was because when I was on a medical leave in 2014 for stress again, she had called me, and she calls and gets you like worked up. And then when she got done with the phone call, and I don't know if I have that in there I might have that as one of my exhibits. I'd have to look through them. I'm sure I probably do. She had said to me, "Have fun on your vacation." Well, I wished I was on vacation, but that was the thought process, or I don't believe it would have been said. So
She said, Ms. Stellick told you to have fun on your vacation when you took leave back in 2014.
correct. And so when
Why did you take leave in 2014? What was
because
it?
of my stress issues and that,
Stress issues.
I wasn't having the high blood pressure quite yet. That took, it kept getting worse, I guess, but the point is, I did not want phone calls, not when you're working on having a problem with your blood pressure. No one needs to be aggravated. And so that's why I said to text me. Okay, so just so that's clear, do you want to look at this letter from my doctor right now?
Okay. And what exhibit number is that?
On
First, just tell me the exhibit number and then the specific page.
C2.
C2. Okay. So I'm going to mark Complainant's exhibit C2 for the record. Just a minute. All right. So we're looking at page 4, date stamp page 4, and here's the doctor's now this has a date of